Hello, everyone. Welcome to this amazing session on mental health at workplace. Firstly, I would like to wish everyone a very happy World Mental Health Day. And here with us today, we have an expert, Mr. Utkarsh Khurana. He's a humanistic existential therapist and he has 5 years of experience in therapy. He's a visiting faculty in Amity University, Noida, and a researcher. So, Utkarsh particularly specializing in understanding different aspects of selves and how these selves interact in the social world. I welcome you, Utkarsh, to this amazing webinar. Thank you so much for being with us.
I thank you so much, Manu, and thank you, Fincart, financial planners, for the opportunity. And a happy World Mental Health Day to you and your organization, and especially to the people who are watching us.
Definitely. So, I have a couple of questions that I want to pick your brain towards, right? And later on in the live session, we'll also take questions from the audience as well. And the very first question I have is, what does work life balance truly mean to you? Let's start there.
So I have read psychology for almost. I started studying psychology for almost around 2015. I started, and it's 2023, and I'm still studying, still practicing. And even I started with the notion that I have to keep a work life balance. That means I have to keep a balance between my practice and my personal life, but I end up making that blunder. I was not able to make that work life balance, which made me wonder what exactly is work life balance for me. And I used to ask my friend that, yeah, तुम्हारे लिए work life balance क्या है? Like, what is work life balance for you? And their answer were very simple, that Utkarsh, the things that are outside our office are our personal life, and things that we are doing in our office are is our work life. Uh, and for me, that was the most idiotic concept. Like, I was not able to process, or maybe I should say, agree to the concept of work life balance that we are following. So for me, the concept of work life balance is an idiotic concept. I don't think it exists in the social world. And I But we are using this concept. For me, it's more of a life balance. And when I say life balance, work is part of my one aspect of life, because I specialize in aspect of self. So I will say, there is no work-life balance. There is only one thing, that is your life balance, and work is one aspect to it. And if I define life balance, that it includes your physical aspect of self, then your mental aspect of self, that is all of your achievements, all of your emotions. Third will be your social aspect of self, that includes all of your social relationships, uh, a stranger, acquaintance, best friend, BFF, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, sister, any social relationship. Even being an enemy to a person is a social relationship. Balance in that. So physical, then mental, then social, and last is somewhat spiritual in nature, which I feel we can define in terms of your meaning and purpose, your value system, your concept of life, your concept of death, your concept of flourishment, your concept of settlement, all the meaningful aspects of your life. That constitutes life balance. But when we use the term work life balance, it's like there is one aspect of your life work, and there is one aspect of your life, that is your personal life. And we end up being the sandwich patty of that particular entity. And most of us experience burnout in order to maintain that balance. Because 9 to 5 is one part of your life, and 5 to 9 is one part of your life. I feel everything is part of your life. So for me, it's more of a life balance, not a work life balance.
So this life balance, as we are saying it, how will this, if it's unbalanced, if it's not really in sync, how can this really affect our mental health?
So firstly, yes, like 99% of us are experiencing an unbalanced life balance, including me. I'm still trying to create that balance, uh, because we are living in a society that is very fast paced. We have 10-minute delivery system that has made our tolerance level very low and instant gratification. Uh, so yes, when we are experiencing unbalanced life, firstly we'll have to figure out where are we allocating our dominant resources. Are we allocating our resources into physical aspects of our life? Are we allocating it to our aspect of our life? Are we allocating us into relationships, or we are allocating it into our future goals and spirituality? Example, a person who might be overly doing his gym work, majority of the resources he's allocating to physical aspect of life. A person who is career oriented and not able to maintain relationship is allocating majority of the resources into achievement aspect. So first we'll have to identify which of the aspect is dominant in our life, so that we can reallocate the resources according to the cultural acceptance and maybe to our moral value system. So that is the basic thing that requires. So after identification, we'll have to accept that do we require a rebalance in our life, or we are happy with the dominant resource allocation. Uh, and these resource allocation changes with time. For example, I am practicing at the same time I'm doing my PhD, and at the same time I'm doing some other works in the field of psychology as a researcher, uh, which is making me allocate majority of my resources into my career aspect. That is the reason right now I'm not able to invest into my social relationships. So for some time being you are allocating, it's completely all right. But if that is going through a long term allocation of resources, it will impact you in terms of burnout, which is the highest in our country. Like I read one of the article in Times of India that India is the second country with higher burnout rates. Even 2022, which is last year research articles, they are saying that in a average employee rate of burnout in a tier 1 city, in one tier 1 city, is 39% of the total population of that uh, uh, urban city. Country wise, 10% of our population is experiencing a shared burnout. That means people are sharing their burnout in an organization, and almost 11 to 13% of the total population of the country is experiencing high distress and daily level distress. So that is how it is impacting. And when you start to experience burnout, most of the employees or most of the human beings are not aware of it, that they're experiencing burnout. It can be noticed through their erratic behavior, or through their tolerance level, through their working style. Even there are certain bodily reactions when a person is experiencing burnout, and increase in the burnout affects your performance, increase the procrastination. I'm seeing so many clients. I can share the verbatim. Like there are a couple of my clients from organizations, and they come to me in session and they say, Utkarsh, uh, I don't feel like working. I don't feel like going to my work. Workplace is good. Colleagues are good. Despite that, I don't want to work. I feel like taking an off for 2 weeks. Uh, which is somewhat visible if you see in the north region. As soon as we get a 3 day holiday, अगर कोई लगातार छुट्टी पड़ गई, 90% of the employees are going to mountains, and on the third day of the chutti, every news channel is publishing that Manali में जाम लग गया, हिमाचल में जाम लग गया, उत्तराखंड में जाम लग गया, because all North India are going towards mountains just to gain back the energy, which is somewhat reflecting the level of burnout we are experiencing and level of procrastination we are experiencing. Uh, Maybe work absenteeism is high. So that is very visible right now.
Definitely, that's a very common culture that we do experience. So, if you specially work, let's say in a corporate, right, and you're an employee there, how can you maintain your own well being? How can that happen?
Hmm. That is one of the important thing, and I must say that every individual have to somewhat take responsibility of their own mental health. uh, it might sound a little conflicting or maybe a little unpleasant, but blaming an organization for their mental health is very easy thing, uh, because uh, every organization wants the productivity, so they lay certain rules that affects our mental health. But at the same time, if we feel that we have the capacity to manage certain things during harsh times, we can somewhat prevent uh, unpleasant mental health uh, at a personal level, at an intrapersonal level. Uh, like what I am working with in one of the organization, and I'm consulting in another organization. So as a nahi that I don't feel the pressure. Before this, I was taking lectures, and after lecture, I'm directly coming to the live session. So I still have an hectic schedule. After this, I have to see clients. Uh, but yes, how am I maintaining my mental health or maintaining that sanity so that I can fulfill all the needs and my goals? Uh, I will share what I do. Maybe people can then relate to it instead of me giving hypothetical examples. Uh, so there have been times I feel the procrastination. There have been times I don't want to work. I don't want to take lectures. I don't want to see clients. I literally sometimes wish, yeah, please client cancel कर दे session. आज मन नहीं है session लेने का. And this is me. This is me. I can't fake it. There have been times where I try to reschedule it by giving a reason to it, that is it okay if we reschedule it? I'm not having that emotional bandwidth, but I have to prepare myself for the event. So I do what I like. One of the common example is I listen to songs. I keep a stop clock for 15 minutes. I start the clock for 15 minutes. Out loudly, I sing song, irrespective of who the neighbor is, who the co-employee is. I plug in my earphones and I start singing just to feel relaxed inside, just to distract myself from that particular environment for 15 minutes. I have indoor plants in my workspace and I keep adding them with time every month. I give names to them so that I feel some green near my surrounding. I take 15 minutes break. I go, I walk into the stairs, नीचे चढ़ता हूँ, ऊपर चढ़ता हूँ, नीचे चढ़ता हूँ, ऊपर चढ़ता हूँ, which is with the very common activity. If anyone in the audience is listening and if you are experiencing anxiety and high amount of stress, movement of body is the best activity to instantly lower down your anxiety and stress at that particular moment. There have been times I am doing march past in my workspace and people are looking me, Utkarsh, what are you doing? And I just say, no, I'm just releasing stress from my body. And every organization has a working space because everybody works in a good MNC or a good organization. We have a working space. Just do the march pass. If people are gonna judge you, let them judge you. People don't do it because they feel अरे लोग क्या सोचेंगे. Just do it. Uh, Yesterday only I was not feeling good with a mental space. Uh, 15 minutes, me and my colleagues, we locked the door. We danced for 15 minutes. Post 15 minutes, I go and took my lecture. And that was one of the fantastic lecture I took yesterday. And I feel so good about it. So these are very small things. There are no big exercises. A common breathing exercise. Just close your eyes and ask yourself by taking your own name, that Utkar, or taking your pet name. Like my pet name is Nannu, so I always ask myself that, हाँ भाई नन्नू क्या चल रहा है? And the answer comes कि यार काम करने का बिल्कुल मन नहीं कर रहा, it feels like a weekend आएगा. And then I say to myself, बस 2 दिन की बात है, what do you want to do after 2 days? And the answer comes, भैया दाल मखनी खानी है, लच्छे पराठे खाने. I am a foodie person, so this is how I reply to it. And then I say to myself, बस 2 दिन और, जहाँ बोलेगा वहाँ खाने जाएंगे. So that pumps me up, that gives me a hope, a motivation that there is something I want to look forward to. So these are small things that a person can do on his own, and it will lead to a good, preventable, non-communicable, basic mental health illnesses. We can prevent it from our own resources. I feel every individual who is watching, or every individual who is born in this social world, they have certain strengths. If we know how to apply our strengths, we can manage a lot of things. A lot of things. So that is my answer to it.
Understood. Perfect. That's actually something that I'm looking forward to doing, some of those practices. And another question I have from you is how good mental health can help you in your professional life as well.
How good a mental health can affect you in a professional life. A good mental health. So I'll define what good mental health is. Uh, just because you're not experiencing any physical illness, that does not mean you have a good mental health. Just because you're experiencing zero anxiety, that does not mean a good mental health. A good mental health is where you have the resources and you know how to allocate your resources, that is your personal strengths, in the social situation and in the situations that are uncertain to us, because humans fear uncertainty. Every human fear uncertainty. So when we are aware of the resources and when we know how to allocate our strengths in a social situation, that is a good mental health. And sometimes social situation challenges you, which is okay. If you're feeling stressed and anxious, which is okay, because it will build resilience in you to manage that particular situation. So sometimes we need unpleasant situation. So that is a good mental health, where you know how to allocate your resources. Now, when you know how to allocate your resources, you will allocate, or I should say, or I can say, you can calibrate your resources according to your needs. So right now I am doing multitasking because I want to do multitasking. I don't want to limit myself to a 9 to 5 job. So I am doing some side works. Uh, I want to have a bakery of my own besides my psychology practice. I want to become a stand-up comedian also in the coming future. I want to start my own podcast. It requires resources. So if you have the resources, you will be able to perform well. You will be excited about your job. Uh, you will be excited about the plannings. Uh, there will be less job absenteeism. You know how to create boundaries between different aspects of your life, different aspects of yourself. So that is the, and you will live a flourishing life. And when I say flourishing life, it's not maximizing your happiness. It's about satisfying the choices, feeling satisfied from the choices. Uh, People are somewhat focusing on maximizing, that how we can maximize our happiness, and that is the reason most of us are experiencing high level of disappointment. So a good mental health will lead to a satisfied life, but not to a maximized life. Like instant gratification, That will not happen if you have a good mental health.
The last question I have for today, Utkarsh, from you is that how can we understand well-being in a fast-paced society?
Before you ask me, I would like to ask you, because you are the moderator, how about your definition of well-being in a fast-paced society, life? Because you are also working in an organization, I am also working in an
Mhm.
organization. We have our stresses. What is well-being for you in a fast-paced city?
I think being able to focus on my work and on my personal life. I mean, yes, we all have days where you are not at your 100%, right? But like you have your tricks, I have my tricks.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
So it's like that. So being focused, whatever I'm doing, being able to give 100% to that, or
hmm, hmm, hmm,
honestly, 90% to that is, I think it's good for me.
hmm, hmm. But is it always being able to give 100%?
No, not always. It's not, I don't think that's even practical. That's my personal
Hmm,
opinion, of course.
hmm, 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 hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, chalo, chalo. That is a good close meaning towards mine uh, experience of well-being. So when I say a fast-paced society, I will repeat the same sentence because we are so used to one-day delivery, 10 minutes delivery, instant gratification, like one blanket and you are your order is here, one Amazon Prime and your order is here, which is good. It has increased the accessibility. But at the same time, if that instant delivery is taking more than 11 minutes, it starts to irritate us. अरे यार कहाँ रह गया ये भैया कहाँ हो मेरा खाना अभी तक नहीं आया वी स्टार्ट्स टू कॉल आर डिलीवरी पार्टनर्स कि भैया 15 मिनट हो गए 10 मिनट की बात so that is somewhat affecting the well-being. That is affecting the well-being. Uh, a little psychoeducation. There are two different types of well-being that society is following. Uh, One well-being is where you focus on maximizing your happiness and minimizing your pain, and on that particular agenda, all of the majority of the organizations are working. They're trying to maximize the happiness and minimize the pain, and we have different apps for it. I don't have to take names. We can see every person on this earth is trying to find the solution so that we can have a comfortable life, but that is only leading to maximizing the happiness. As soon as the person is experiencing pain, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it, which is leading to increased case of anxiety, helplessness, low self-esteem, low self-worth. Because I'm so used to this instant gratification thing uh, that I'm not able to handle uncertain situations where things are opposite. So this is one way of well-being, which is known as hedonic well-being. We are living a hedonistic life. Uh, in like your all the fast food is basically hedonic. You pay, you get your stuff in 30 minutes, and you are done. That is why we call it fast food, because instant gratification. Second way of well-being, which I prefer and recommend all of us need, is when you are experiencing uh, happiness at the same time you are experiencing unpleasantness in equal amount, but you are moving towards life satisfaction and flourishment. Uh, so all of us are trying to not feel sad, and in that journey we are lost. How to not feel sad, how to not feel anger, how to not feel guilt. So, and we are somewhat stuck in that circle, and we're not able to feel the flourishment where you are feeling a meaningful relationship, where you are experiencing positive emotions, where you are experiencing engagement in your life, because we don't know how to stay committed to a situation. So many options are there. And this is more of a eudaimonic way of well-being, where we are focusing on life satisfaction with unpleasantness as a part of our life. So if you are experiencing sadness, sit with it. It will tell you a lot of things about you. 90% of us, because when I say 90%, because of the clients I'm seeing, uh, we try to suppress it. We try to sublimate it into a different emotion, into a different action. If you sit with your current emotion, it will tell you a lot of things about you and yourself. But as I say, fast paced, who have the time to sit with their emotions, who has the time to sit with their realities. We try to mask it with elements. We have social media, we have anything that can distract us. So we have a good, that is why every individual has their own different social media life and a different personal life, because they are fascinating things, fantasizing things in their social media life, and inside they know what are they experiencing, but they don't know how to process it, because we are so used to maximizing the happiness and ignoring the unpleasantness. uh, but in a way, uh, so if a person is experiencing depression or maybe chalo depression, uh, I won't call it that person as a depressive human being. For me, that is just a person who is experiencing dysregulation of their strengths. They're not aware of how to allocate their strengths, and that is the reason they are experiencing depression. A person experiencing anxiety throughout their day, they don't know how to allocate their resources. They're not an anxious person. But people, they victimize themselves by saying, "Oh, I am an anxious person." No, you are not an anxious person. You are experiencing anxiety. That's it. Full stop. Oh, I am bipolar. No, you are not bipolar. You are experiencing different moods. That's it. You are not bipolar, because you can't label your entity. Uh, but because of the fast-paced society, we want instant gratification. We want instant diagnosis. That's it. That needs to stop with time. So if you see, there are communities promoting fast-paced society, instant deliveries. At the same time, there are communities introducing rehabilitation centers, introducing retreat. अब 10 साल में देखो concept of retreat in India has increased a lot. Western world में it has increased a lot. जितनी पब्लिक हिमाचल अब जा रही है, 10 years back it was not there. There has to be a reason. So that is the problem. So I recommend a eudaimonic way of living, a eudaimonic well-being, positive emotion, negative emotion, and life satisfaction and flourishment.
Understood. So Ramneet in our audience has a very good question here. How can I distinguish between everyday stress and a more serious mental health issue?
Hmm. So everyday stress is a good element, because that makes human more skillful. Because अगर stress नहीं होगा, I will not work on my skills. But if that everyday stress is affecting your personal, sorry, physical, mental, social, emotional, and occupational life, then for a good amount of time, example 1 month, if that is affecting you for almost a month, that means at surface level we see that it is an everyday stress, but at a deeper level, you are experiencing or you are showcasing certain signs and symptoms towards a dysregulation. Because everyday stress, day to day stress is a good stress. But if that is a prolonged stress affecting all aspects of your life, it is a sign that you might need to have a checkup, with the therapist. That's it. Because it's just a dysregulation. I will not say it's a mental disorder. It's just a dysregulation which can be managed through sessions.
So, Navira has a question for someone going through something prolonged like depression. There can be low days and better days. What would be your advice for someone like that who feels unable to work quite frequently?
Okay. A person experiencing depression, low days, yes, there are low days when you are experiencing depression. Uh, we need to revisit with our objective of life and goal of life. It's like physically एक पैर में fracture है and expecting to run 100 meter or a 10 kilometer marathon. No. If you are experiencing, first acknowledge it that yes, Utkarsh, I think I'm experiencing this. What are the reasons to it? That needs to be understood so that we can redefine our goals. Uh, Habitual pushing, common phenomena leading to imposter syndrome I've seen, is not a good idea. Guilt push, we experience guilt and we push ourselves, not a good idea. Your body and your mind are trying to communicate with you that you are experiencing something. First, listen to it. What is your mind and body trying to say? What are they trying to express? Acknowledge it. Then redefine your goals. And every organization at some level, because things have changed now, organizations are giving leaves for your mental health. A couple of my clients have took almost one month leave to work on their mental health. So organizations are supportive towards it. Take that 1 month, introspect with your therapist, work on certain maladaptive behavior or any element of it, and you will be able to manage your life. But first is acknowledgement. Unfortunately, there is a research paper published that almost 37% of the employees are experiencing uh, anxiety leading to uh, depression and bipolar, and one of the common phenomena, imposter syndrome, uh, and they are ignoring it, which has serious mental health issues that they will be experiencing in future. So start acknowledging and then accepting uh, that you are experiencing something and it is completely all right. It's nothing. It's not a big uh, cancer नहीं है कि untreatable है. Everything is manageable if you want to manage it.
Mr. Tanveer has another amazing question, I think. How to balance aspirations with patience and persistence and not get dejected if it doesn't come within our defined timeline?
That is the answer. That is the answer. If that is not coming in your defined time, that means we need to revisit. And this happened with me, and it is still happening with me. I thought I'll complete my PhD in 3 years, but it is 3.5. My parents are after me, ki, Utkarsh, when will you start your marital life? And I said, अरे भैया PhD खत्म नहीं हुई, and I don't want to start it. First of all, I want to work more. Uh, but what objective are we creating? Is it a measurable goal? Is it a, can we do an assessment of it? On what basis we define the timeline? That needs to be reframed and introspected. सबसे पहला आंसर यही है. Secondly, yes, aspiration, persistence, uh, get into conflict because these are two important elements that every employee has. They have their aspirations, and at the same time, they want to be persistent. But at the same time, timeline is a thing. Uh, Again, allocate your resources in a more calibrate manner, revisit your timelines and first ask yourself, how are you deciding this timeline? I can, with confidence, I can say that the timeline we are creating is not the timeline that we have genuinely created. It is getting influenced by someone else in our life, because India is a collectivistic country. Individualism is not in our culture. We are still collectivistic in nature. So whatever we are deciding, we are somewhat getting influenced by the social aspect of the society. That needs to be introspected, because this timeline issue, aspiration and persistence, majority of my clients are experiencing this. Uh, they are from IIMs, MBAs, at good position, and still they are experiencing this timeline issue. It needs to be revisited.
Shikha has a very interesting question. I think this is talked about a lot on our social media platforms these days as well. How can I communicate my mental health concerns to my family or loved ones?
Tough. It is very tough. It is. It almost took me to. Uh, so first, let's agree that some of the Indian families are not acceptable towards mental health or mental illnesses. They say, "अरे तुम्हें काउंसलिंग की क्या जरूरत है?" Luckily, even in my family, it took time. When I started with the concept like I need my own space. Space क्या होता है? हमारे जमाने में तो स्पेस नहीं था. Very common. हम तो अपने मन की बात खुल के बोल देते थे. But things are changing. Things are changing. Uh, that type of a parenting style, and right now there's a very good shift in the society and parenting style. Uh, Communicating your mental health to your parents, how I did it, पूरा माहौल बनाना पड़ा था, to be very honest. When I say माहौल बनाना पड़ा था, I literally created the environment where I can express that I am experiencing this, uh, and it's not about you. I'm not blaming you, because sometimes some of the parents I have experienced with my clients that they become sensitive that is it us who caused the mental illness or condition, uh, and if they are not accepting towards it, for instance, it's completely all right. I'm not expecting any parent figure to understand their child, uh, but at least they can acknowledge. If they are not accepting, completely okay, just acknowledge it. Acha theek hai, we are not able to understand what are you experiencing. We are not able to understand what is depression, but at least give your child that space. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to go for counseling? Go. ठीक है, समझ नहीं आ रहा है, but I'm providing resources. So uh, in a simpler language you can talk about it instead of hi-fi words. Mental health बहुत बड़ा word है for some tier 2 cities, but at the same time if we use easy basic language कि कभी कभी मुझे ऐसा फील होता है and I'm thinking कि मैं इसके बारे में किसी से बात कर लूं, go talk about it. uh, but if they're not agreeing to it or not accepting, no choice, we can't force them. Tough love you can play, but you can't force your parent कि नहीं आपको समझना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं हो रहा है, you are 18 plus, you are independent enough to take your decisions, you are independent enough to re-decide your decisions. Your mental health is somewhat your responsibility, so don't force anyone to understand it. That is my realistic answer to it.
Anubha has another interesting question. How to come from past traumas and feeling heavy from inside and not able to share anything with anyone?
Hmm. Uh, a complex question, and the person who has asked is, I'm assuming that that person is may be experiencing a lot of things from the past. I call them open memories, memories that are somewhat unpleasant and traumatic in nature, and these open memories have no closure towards it. Uh, and it is very painful and hard when your mind relives that uh, from moment to moment, uh, at any point of your life, at any point of the situation. If you're washing dishes and suddenly that memory pops up and you are reliving that memory suddenly and you're trying to suppress it कि ये मैं क्यों सोच रहा हूँ या सोच रही हूँ, and it affects uh, uh, that person can, whoever is experiencing this, uh, you can consult therapist if confidentiality is the issue. We can take care of it. If budget is the issue, we can take care of it. Humanizing lives literally provide sessions for in a very affordable prices because mental health is costly, but at your own management level, diversion or diverting yourself is one common way of managing for that particular moment. Like many of my clients, I've asked them to hold ice cubes if they are somewhat unconsciously recalling or reliving that memory, so that all of the stimulus get diverted to the ice and not to your thought and memory. You can write it, uh, which is a technique called psychological distance, when where you can write that particular memory or situation in a script format, like you are a director of a movie and you're writing it in a script format but in a third person format. That means usually when client experience express their memories or events or situations, they start with the word I, that Utkarsh, I am experiencing this, I was like this and this happened and that happened and I was crying and I was overwhelmed. when they when they use the word I, they are inside the situation. So when they're experiencing and expressing it with the word I, they are inside the situation. But when you are writing it in a third person, that oh, there is a person Utkarsh who was experiencing a breakup, and in his breakup, he was sad. In his breakup, he was not able to get up from the bed, and he was not able to do this. But at the same time, he did this. So when we use the word he, we are outside the situation and observing it. So we are outside the memory. We are not reliving it, and that creates the psychological distance from that particular hurtful, unpleasant, and a traumatic memory. So with many of my clients, majority of my clients, I practice psychological distance. I encourage them to write it in a script format and create a distance.
Understood. I think that is a very amazing advice. Psychological distancing, amazing concept. Mamta Kohli and Kev Shah have a question: how to cure mental health or the ways to improve mental health? What can we practice?
Cure mental health, that depends on the diagnosis because sometimes medications are required. So cure is a word with psychiatry aspect to it. So if you are experiencing maladaptivity or any abnormal behavior, go for 1 or 2 sessions with your psychologist. They would be able to help you that what exactly you are experiencing. At a personal level, identify and work on your strengths, because strengths act as a buffer uh, towards unpleasantness. And when I say strength, I'm not saying confidence is my strength. It is, obviously it is your strength, but it is at a social level. Uh, every individual is born with certain signature strengths, uh, including a rapist, including an acid attacker, including a thief. Everybody has their own signature strengths, which are five in number. And these strengths are these strengths that you have been using in the majority aspects of your life. Example, humor is my strength, uh, and I'm overly using it. Hide my emotions through humor. I can easily say, oh, I had a sexual abuse through humor. So everybody is has their signature strengths. Work on it, identify it. There are questionnaires. I can directly give you the link for identifying your strengths, and you can work on it, that how I can use my signature strengths into my day-to-day activity. Because if symptoms are existing, if disorder is existing, that means strengths are also existing. And मैंने तो सिर्फ 5 स्ट्रेंथ्स बोले हैं. Every individual has 23, by the way. But I don't think even the moderator can count 23 strengths. 4, 5, 6, 7. Uh, but mind you, all of you have 23 strengths. Some of them are overly used. Some of them are underly used. We can find out the underly used ones, work on it with an action plan. I can provide you with the links where you can identify your 23 strengths and you can have an action plan. If you require my assistance, I'm happy to help. By the way, Manu, how many strengths do you think you have?
I
You can
think I
take your
would agree
time,
with
you
you.
can count.
I would definitely agree with you, Umar.
Hmm.
Yeah, might have to think about the other ones.
Yes, but we
Perfect.
have 23. We have 23.
23. I would really looking forward to that link, honestly.
I will share the link of
Done.
23.
Another
Yes.
question that Shika has is, are there any triggers or patterns which contribute to mental health?
Your habitual patterns are somewhat the fuel for your current mental health. Uh, and it is completely all right to have an habitual pattern. But some of the patterns are fueling your mental health into unpleasant or a maladaptive mental health, or poor mental health. And these are the patterns that we have created from our childhood into our adulthood to survive. Whatever actions you are showcasing, whatever patterns you are showcasing, you are doing it for the survival. The good part is we know how to survive. The sad part is we're not able to understand whether that pattern is making us flourish or not. It is helping us to survive. Good. Is it helping us to flourish? No. That patterns need to be introspected. Uh, why are we using these patterns despite knowing they are unpleasant in nature? Example, I know I am overly using my humor to hide my emotions. Even my therapist has told me that, Utkarsh, you use your intellectual mind to fool yourself, you manipulate yourself. It is one of my very common pattern. And I give an image of a serious person. At the same time, humor, बड़े बड़े इमोशंस मैंने ह्यूमर से छुपाए हैं. My therapist has told me, Utkarsh, you are using humor to hide your emotions. Why can't you feel it? Because it has worked it in the childhood, and I felt safe that अच्छा humor से ऐसा होता है, intellectual करने से ऐसा होता है. My mind has accepted those pattern, and it is saying to me that Utkarsh, these are the only patterns that will keep you safe. Others, no, don't try, because we are not sure whether they will work or not. As I said, humans fear uncertainty. So if you try a new pattern, one day you will able to do it, 2 day you will be able to do it, third day you will not do it, because your mind is saying to you unconsciously, follow the basic one. So even if that is hurting you, you will do it. So pattern needs to be understood because they are fueling your mental health.
Somebody wants to know how to remain focused in my life. I just can't concentrate because of constant negligence towards my work responsibilities. It makes me more depressed. I'm crossing 37.
Is it okay if you repeat the statements again.
So the statement is, how do I remain focused in my life? I just can't concentrate because of constant negligence towards my work responsibility. It makes me more depressed, and I'm crossing 37.
So many things are attached to it. Uh, One of the major pressure I can see is that I'm 37. Uh, I think client feels that it is important for her to focus on her life because she is 37, and that is one of the pressure I can feel. 37. Work responsibilities, second pressure I'm feeling. I may be assuming, but again, one of the pressure that the person is experiencing and not able to focus. Third is need to focus what exactly this person is meaning with the word I need to focus, because this person is able to survive her 37 years. That means there has been some focus in her life. विदाउट फोकस तो नहीं लिव किया है लाइफ, फोकस तो है तभी लिव किया है. पॉइंट्स नीड टू बी आइडेंटिफाइड जहां जहां पे आई एम नॉट एबल टू फोकस. Firstly, this person can identify the points where she is able to focus, and then make a list of things where she is not able to focus. Things that she is able to focus, what are the reasons to it? Things that she's not able to focus, on which she's not able to focus, what are the reasons to it? Those reasons are the answers. Then she can think about it, whether I can manage these things or I need assistance. Everybody has some or the other level of focus.
Definitely. Rashi has another question: how to deal with toxic people who are affecting our mental health?
Toxic people. Uh, Lay boundaries. Sometimes it is not the other person who is toxic. Sometimes it is our receptivity towards that person. A common example I can give: I am a person who helps everyone, a giver, and I have no boundaries, and I'm still learning to it, thanks to my therapist. Uh, so when I feel exhausted, uh, I tend to say, यार ये बंदा बहुत चूस रहा है, ये चेप होता जा रहा है, बहुत टॉक्सिक है. But wait a minute, I am the person who decided that I want to help without filters. So I am somewhat adding the fuel in that particular relationship and making it more toxic. That needs to be identified from your end. Are you fueling it or not? Second, yes, there are people on the other hand, they showcase certain signs that leads to unpleasantness and toxicity. If you are experiencing that, you know what to do. Just create a boundary. Maybe we are not the one able to create the boundary, and if you want to help that person, have a have an honest communication with them that, bro, or जो भी है वो, I am observing this particular thing in you, this particular behavior in you. Do you think this is bothering you? Because it sometimes bothers me. Because it happens in an intimate relationship, it happens in a marital relationship, and some person, one partner experience toxicity. It happens between boss and employee. Uh, I feel that new age bosses and HR and employees are somewhat open to effective communication. And I'm assuming that because things are changing now in MNCs, you can have a one-to-one conversation with the person. But before that, please ask yourself whether are you fueling the toxicity or not.
So Shiv from our audience has another question. What is subconscious anxiety and how can you overcome that?
When you are habitual of anxiety, that is your subconscious anxiety. That means you are somewhat comfortable with your anxiety. Example, before this live, I was anxious, I was sweating. There are almost three ACs in my room. All of them are on 18. Because I am comfortable with anxiety despite being a therapist. अगर एंजाइटी नहीं भी हो रही है ना, आई विल हैव एन एंजाइटी की यार एंजाइटी क्यों नहीं है, एम आई बीइंग कॉन्फिडेंट और व्हाट, एम आई ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट और व्हाट. That is where your body, and it's not the mind, it's the body that is used very much habitual to anxiety, because that is Red Bull for you. It's the anxiety that makes me work. अगर एंजाइटी नहीं होगी, आई माइट लेज अराउंड. That is when your anxiety is at the subconscious level. When your body is used to anxiety, it acts like a Red Bull. Anxiety होगी, किक आएगा, फिर वो हम स्ट्रेस रिस्पॉन्स करेंगे, दैट इज आवर पैटर्न ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स. फिर वो ट्रिगर फील होगा, एक इमोशन एक्सपीरियंस होगा, एंड हम एक गो में अच्छा कर देंगे. So if I give you a very honest answer, after this live, if I remove this shirt and see a lot of sweating, because अभी मैं एकदम अपने उस GoPro मोड में हूँ. This is what subconscious anxiety is. Technical term, some anxieties are trait anxiety, where you have the trait of the anxiety, genetic. Some are state anxiety, which is situation related.
Understood. There is another question from Arijit. Sir, learning disabilities, ADHD, OCD patient हूँ. Studies कैसे करूँ मैं?
हाँ, if this person is taking help from the clinical psychologist, then please ask your therapist to help you with skills, because they require specific way of or a different way in learning and writing. And ऐसा भी नहीं कुछ abnormal है, just a different management, that's it, which is very very much okay. So I would, because I'm not a clinical psychologist, I would directly suggest go to a therapist. नहीं है, ask me, I'll give you one, learn the skills, it is manageable. ADHD and OCD are very much manageable. There are so many Insta pages where patients of ADHD and OCD have psycho-educated person about skills to manage them. So yes, uh, that is the answer to it. Write information to it. Go to a clinical psychologist.
Okay. Uh, Another question we have from Anubha. Do feelings of anxiety or discomfort around others bother?
Depends on the person. Uh, if those people are random strangers, it will bother me. Feeling of anxiety and all the other feelings. If that is happening between me and my friends, sometimes it does not bother me. So it depends on the situation and the nature of the person. But if your anxiety is prolonged, even if you are in the safest situation, maybe your mind and body are not feeling safe, they are feeling threatened. That needs to be acknowledged. You can say to yourself that Utkarsh, I know you are feeling threatened, but भाई तू सही में safe है, you are genuinely safe, there's no threat, I am here with you. So it will help you to manage in that particular moment. So that is the actual answer to it.
We have another person, Prateek, who wants to know what strategies can employee themselves employ to enhance their mental well-being at work.
What strategies employ, फिर से can you read it again?
Can employees themselves employ to
हाँ.
enhance their mental well-being at work?
अच्छा, ठीक है. It may sound repetitive. Please work on your strengths. We all know हम किस चीज में खराब हैं. Like 23 से ज्यादा चीजें बता सकते हैं that I'm not good at. What I'm good at, we same repetitive answer we give. I'm good at this skill. I'm good at this skill. I'm good at this skill. Java, C. ठीक है, those are just your technical skills. Uh, Strengths are the acquired skills that you have acquired from the society. uh, if you're able to literally able to work on them now, this is very simple sort of a social medicine I'm giving in this live. If you're able to work on your strengths, you will experience flourishment a lot. कुछ भी मतलब करना नहीं पड़ेगा इतनी मेहनत. Identify your strengths. uh, Unfortunately, majority of the psychology work is mental health word से disorder दिमाग में आता है. Work on your strengths. चाहे आप एम्प्लॉय हो, कुछ भी हो, even if you are a boss, HR, employee, peon, anyone, identify your strengths. You will have a good mental health. I am assuring you.
Uh, Arijit wants to ask, can I be successful with mental health problems?
हाँ, yes, mental health issues take a toll on your performance, but that does not mean that you won't be able to uh, experience success. I experience a lot of anxiety, but at the same time I am a therapist. At the same time I have been called by you guys for a live. At the same time I am teaching in a private university. I am earning good. तो पीएचडी खत्म होने वाली, नाम के आगे डॉक्टर लग जाएगा अभी विद इन फ्यू मंथ्स. आई एम सक्सेसफुल. आई एम एबल टू अचीव ऑल ऑफ माय गोल्स. बेकरी का काम शुरू कर दिया मैंने. आई हैव टेकन माय फर्स्ट ऑर्डर आल्सो. सो इट्स पॉसिबल. इट्स पॉसिबल.
Wants to ask, what are some early warning signs? I think this is in sync with our previous questions about mental health issues. When should someone seek help? And for her own mental well being, she detaches herself. Is she doing it right?
That is her way of managing the situation, and I am appreciating that. I am feeling grateful that you know how to survive. But do you think this strategy of yours is helping you in all the aspects of your life? Are you satisfied with your current way of managing the situation by detaching? Uh, it is typically a ghost mode, which is very common, and so kudos to you that you're doing it. But at the same time, uh, there are other ways through which you can manage the situation. You have learned this way, very good. You know how to survive. But at the same time, there are other ways through which you can manage the same situation with fine new skills. That's it. Early signs, if you feel that this pattern is a prolonged pattern for almost a month or more than 3 weeks, you can have a session on this. And mental health sessions or therapy sessions are not about diagnosis, not always about diagnosis. Yes, diagnosis is required so that therapists can help you in understanding your pattern. That's it. It is not a label that you are this. But consider your therapist as a co passenger, where you are at the driving seat, driving the car. Your therapist is just observing where you are taking your car. जहाँ जहाँ जो जो सीन्स आप दिखाओगे अपने थेरेपिस्ट को, थेरेपिस्ट वो सीन देखेगा and he'll help you in understanding, oh beta, this is the obstacle. Once the obstacle is removed, you have the survival instinct to regrow. मुझे बताना ही नहीं पड़ेगा कि ये करो, तो हो जाएगा. I will just help you with the obstacle. Or second metaphor, consider it as a blank canvas where the therapist and the client, both of them are painting and reaching to a point. That is therapy. So more than 3 weeks, uh, get it assist.
We have last two questions. One is, how do we avoid overthinking? I think this is something fairly common with me as well.
For me also, I तो ठीक है मतलब for me I am able to uh, like I was overthinking before this live. अरे यार लाइटिंग सही नहीं है, लाइट चलेगी तो क्या होगा, बैटरी बैकअप नहीं है मेरे पास. तो मैंने बात करके रख ली, फोन लेके रखा. तो all these situations मतलब क्या क्या हो सकता है. So one thing, overthinking helps me to prepare. Second, overthinking helps me to understand in all the perspectives with other people can't. वो ठीक है, उसके साइड इफेक्ट्स भी बहुत सारे हैं बट बेनिफिट्स भी हैं. फर्स्ट थिंग फर्स्ट, लेट्स एक्सेप्ट इट. I can say more than 70% are the unpleasant side effects, but there are some benefits of overthinking. But understand why we are overthinking. A person who is overthinking is to make sure that things are all right. That person is trying to protect themselves, and that is the reason वो दुनिया का हर पॉसिबल सिचुएशन सोच रहे हैं so that they can feel safe about it. That means there has to be reason why are we feeling unsafe in a particular situation. Uh, I asked myself, why am I feeling unsafe? मैं ही तो हूँ साइकोलॉजिस्ट और मुझे ही एंजाइटी हो रही है ऑन अ मेंटल हेल्थ डे. सो आयरनी. तो मैंने व्हाट्सएप पे भी अपने दोस्तों को यही लिखा. मैं कहा यार मेंटल हेल्थ डे है, बुलाया भी मुझे ही और एंजाइटी भी मुझे ही हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है. देन आई आस्क्ड माय सेल्फ, उत्कर्ष व्हाई आर यू फीलिंग सो अनसेफ. बस आई गॉट माय आंसर टू इट. आई सेड सम गुड थिंग्स टू माय सेल्फ and I said, Utkarsh, no, you know how to do it. Utkarsh, you can do it, you have done it so many times. For that moment, a big no helped me to stop my overthinking. But there are good benefits of it also.
The last question we have for today. Sometimes my hands and legs shivered for no reason. Is this a worrying sign?
More than 3 weeks, not a worrying sign, but you can maybe get a check or maybe just introspect. Like sometimes anxiety leads to physical symptoms, like how I sweat, like how I shiver. Anxiety leads to physical sensation, and if your body is habitual to it, it will happen. That means your anxiety is in your body. It can be a neurological thing, it can be any other medical condition. So if it's a prolonged thing, maybe we can explore it, because that is just your body communicating to you. So why to ignore your body? We only have one body. We can ignore our enemies.
Very
At
true.
least, yes.
Perfect. I think that's it for today. I am looking forward to having a lot more mini sessions with you, Utkarsh. Thank you so much. This was really insightful, very amazing. We all, I guess, got to learn a lot out of this. And really, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much to the audience. काफी अच्छे questions पूछे हैं, to be very honest, and some of them were very personal to them, I believe. So thank you. You felt comfortable in asking your questions publicly. It's not an easy job, by the way. And thank you, Manu, for hosting it. Thank you, Fincart Financial Planners, for hosting it, because work mental health is one of the ignored aspect in our society.
Definitely.
Let's agree to it. I don't want a debate. It is one of the ignored aspect. So thank you for the initiative. It will I'm assuming it will motivate other organizations to at least take an initiative.
Talk
And
about
I
it.
will be
Definitely.
definitely sending that strength link. And I
Waiting.
recommend everyone, please
Yeah.
assess yourself with those strengths. इतना अच्छा लगेगा ना अपने बारे में, मतलब ऐसा लगेगा आप ही सुपर हीरो हो अपनी मूवी के. So that is my,
I think
because
we all need a boost of confidence in that area.
yes. So that is your boost, that is your secret of energy, your strengths. I will definitely send the link to you guys.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for your valuable time, Utkarsh. Thank you for all the audience for joining in. We shall take your leave now.
Thank you
Thank
so